It has been 5 years since the historic turn of events in Afghanistan, where the US forces exited Afghanistan after a 20-year military expedition and control of the country, and the Taliban regime came back to power. That was a watershed moment for Pakistan also, because Pakistan perceived that moment to be of advantage for its own strategic interests. The post-exit, US exit period was one of honeymoon, where Pakistan was seen leading the diplomatic front in convening regional dialogues for reintegration of Afghanistan in regional peace and security issues. Sadly, since 2022, those visions have been on the reversal. Today, we are marking the 5 years of Taliban rule in Kabul with an unprecedented spike of violence and cross-border conflict between the two countries, to the extent that the people-to-people historical flow has experienced an unprecedented setback. Trade is frozen, and both countries are incurring massive losses, socioeconomic and developmental losses, even if we put aside the security and political cost. Looking back, if I were to do a cost-benefit analysis from a Pakistani perspective, what strikes me is the Taliban sustaining their rule despite global rejection, despite rejection of legitimacy in the international community. Why and how the Taliban have sustained is a big question. And this will need to be studied by Pakistan very dispassionately and without emotion. In other words, Taliban's baseline has incrementally gone north. In contrast, Pakistan's baseline of having advantage over Afghanistan, asymmetrical advantage over Afghanistan, whether it was a pre-Taliban Afghanistan or a Taliban Afghanistan, Pakistan's baseline has gone south considerably. This is a massive change in the status quo, where the asymmetry has decreased for Pakistan in political terms, in strategic terms, in reputational terms. This reduction of traditional asymmetry, which Pakistan has historically played for its advantage, is a moment of wake-up call. It should be a moment of wake-up call for Islamabad. There needs to be a very serious internal dialogue within the Pakistani stakeholders as to what extent the current policy of freezing relationship with Kabul, especially trade and commerce relationship, to what extent has it accrued benefits for Pakistan. If you listen to the commercial and trade bodies in the region, it appears that it's a massively lose-lose prospect for Pakistan after several months of trade freeze. The baseline for the Taliban is stable, but the baseline for Pakistan has shifted, and that is a moment of worry. Pakistan needs to go back to the drawing board. It needs to consult its stakeholders on this side of the border and come up with an out-of-the-box strategy to see how it can lessen its losses and resume some level of a compartmentalized dialogue with the Taliban regime based on certain unequivocal principles of respect, pragmatism, and the desire for dialogue over the desire of conflict.